And now, the politics of gender. Should women be allowed to join Rotary clubs? Battle lines are forming on that issue now that the Seattle International District chapter has voted to allow women. As Bill Benson reports, the fight has prompted a lawsuit and hard feelings.
Rotary is an international organization of business and professional people who provide a wide range of community services through local clubs. The Seattle Club is the second largest in the country, and its list of accomplishments is long and distinguished. However, unlike many organizations that have a positive influence in their communities, Rotary is for men only. The International District's Rotary Club is only 2 years old and recently challenged the tradition by admitting 15 women. Knowing full well how the governing body would react, the club also filed suit in federal court to stop the organization from suspending or expelling the chapter.
We've got a very diverse background in the members of our club. A lot of Chinese, Japanese, Jewish, blacks, just a real broad spectrum of people, and the energy was there. Some of them have felt discrimination, I think, in their lifetime. That was brought up in some of our meetings, and they came on real strong that this is wrong and we want to change it.
The new members admit that they could have joined other organizations, but none with the status of Rotary.
I can't think of any other organization that is as large and as diverse and as international as Rotary, and I think that that's what makes it attractive to businesswomen.
The recent developments haven't escaped Rotary District Governor John Henry, and his message to the Seattle Club today was perfectly clear.
The 15 new admittees to Seattle Rotary International are not to be considered as Rotarians and are not to be given makeups.
I'm in sympathy with the fact that women should belong to Rotary and feel that eventually that will happen, but I think from our standpoint it would probably be better if it could have been worked out through the regular channels of the Rotary International.
Regardless of what actions or positions are taken, this is not an issue that will be resolved overnight. The soonest that Rotary International could even reconsider the idea of admitting women is 1989. And the chances of the body going along with the idea then is considered very low. For the 10 o'clock news, Bill Benson reporting.
There's a lot of discussion before we did this that our club was a logical club and I was a logical person to promote this, to get women involved in Rotary. But after it happened, there was a lot of bad feelings, ill feelings, that we hadn't followed the rules, that we had taken some shortcuts by filing an injunction and admitting these women. And so there were some ill feelings, and that they wanted us to go through the standard Rotary legal system to get rules changed. But we had tried that, and it looked like it was going to be futile.
We got a lot of erroneous publicity saying that this renegade club in ID district, they don't follow rules. What we did was that we followed the rules. We went through the channels. When we knew it's hopeless, only then we decided to file a lawsuit.
Today, the U.S. Supreme Court ruled that a California Rotary Club would have to comply with state law and open its membership to women. As NBC's Carl Stern reports tonight, the question now is how far this decision, which begins in Duarte, California, will reach.
We had no choice.
At a recent breakfast meeting, members of the Duarte, California Rotary Club recalled how their club was expelled from the international organization after they showed up at a regional meeting with women members.
The Duarte Rotary Club, who was being honored that night, stood up. 3 women members stood, and a week later, the band was disturbed.
3 years ago, the Supreme Court ruled in a Minnesota case that another service organization, the JCs, had to admit women under state anti-discrimination laws. But Rotary International argued that the ruling did not apply to its 20,000 clubs worldwide. It said it was more selective than the JCs because it generally accepts only 2 members in each occupation and should be regarded as entirely private. Today, the Supreme Court unanimously rejected that argument. Justice Powell said that Rotary was not the sort of intimate private club that could defy laws in about 30 states requiring access for women. In Duarte, the first female Rotarian welcomed the decision.
Well, I'm just glad that they came to it. I'm sorry that Rotary didn't realize that this could have been something that they could have taken upon themselves and been a leader as a group.
But the head of Rotary predicted women would come to regret the ruling.
It's going to apply not just to Rotary, Lions, and Kiwanis and Optimist, but it's also going to apply to the women's service clubs. Seroptimist, Zonta, Quota, Altrusa, Pilot, and the many, many others.
There were some who wondered whether the Girl Scouts would now have to admit boys, but the justices seemed to limit their decision to business and professional organizations.
If there is discrimination, if this is harmful to women or to girls, the court's backing us up and saying, hey, this isn't right.
In Duarte, the Rotary Club says women restored its sagging membership, and it was agreed that many other traditionally all-male organizations will soon be admitting women. Carl Stern, NBC News, Washington.
Good evening. This is the Cairo Evening News. I'm Gary Justice. Today's U.S. Supreme Court decision supporting Rotary clubs that have let women join their ranks is being looked at as vindication for a small Rotary club right here in Seattle. The men of that club last year said to heck with the international rules and voted to admit women. Today, the High Court ruled that Rotary International cannot yank the charters of local chapters that admit women as members. Mark Wallstad has the local story.
These are the faces of Rotary. They are all male. At least that's been the tradition. Now there may be some new faces. Rotary's men-only tradition has been changed. Last fall, the club in Seattle's International District admitted 15 women as members, the only club in the state to cross the gender line. At the same time, the club filed a lawsuit against the parent organization to keep from being expelled. Now the Supreme Court says Rotary cannot discriminate against women by expelling local clubs that admit them. The ruling results from a case in California, but the small club in Seattle is claiming victory as well.
Our chapter was right.
Nick Licata is an officer for the club in the International District, which now has 27 women in its membership of 69.
It'll start snowballing. Last week, the president of one of the local Rotary clubs told me that he wanted to make sure that they were one of the first clubs to admit women because he wanted to make sure he got the good women members.
And at that time, obviously we didn't realize what major impact it would have. And now over 300,000 female Rotarians throughout the world. It was very important. I remember saying at the time that, you know, this is something that's probably going to be on my tombstone because it felt that important.